Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. I've got to remind myself of that. And it is very much morning because you can see with both our lighting this morning that Nico and I are in the dark. We both got busy days and we're up and running very, very early. So, Nico, welcome to you.
Thanks very much, Neil. Yeah, we're in the dark in more ways than one. But 9 races today out at the Vaal, and looking forward to it, Neil. As you said, we're coming through very early, so quite a few scratchings on the day as well. But the track conditions should be good. No rain is expected, and we're expecting a nice day out there today, Neil.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on the scratchings because there might be more. I mean, heaven help us if this is great news for our friend Alistair Cohen, because if they scratch any more in the 9th race, they might as well give the race to Barner Bridge. I mean, look at these scratchings here. But anyway, let's start from the top quickly. So you've got them. Race 2, number 1, Mayen is out in the same race. Race 2, number 11, Sassy has been sold, so doesn't run. Race 3, number 9, Saffron Rain, unfortunately cast in box. In the 4th race, Captain Lannister and Savannah Storm are out. In race 7, number 9, Indigo Winter is out, which disappointed me, actually, Nick. I quite liked her today, or him today. 16 in the ether is a card scratching. Then on to race 8, Moya La Liga is scratched. In the same race, number 16, Blue Eyes has been sold. And then this 9th race, which let me get your take on. It's quite interesting because the majority of these are from the Habib yard. All of, well, 4 isn't, but after that, he's got 6, 8, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all his and all out. So how many, I can't even count how many scratchings that is.
And effectively, Neil, the 16 is part of the same yard because the Fabian Habib stable have now moved to Turffontein and are sharing yards with Tony Nassif. So effectively, all of those from 6 down are all part of the same yard. So they've got something going on there. And then they've got the fancy doors were cast in the same race. So that race is open to question.
Yeah, I'd be a bit worried because the reason for all these scratchings is elevated temperature and abnormal temperature. So
that's what I'm saying.
If they've got a virus, I mean, Wakas might be one of the only ones to have escaped it. Anyway, that's for 2 and 2 and getting 5. But let's stop sharing that and move on straight away to the first race, Nico. And you can take us through your opinion for race 1 at the Vaal today.
Well, it's a work rider's maiden, Neil, up the straight 1,400 meters. And I think here that the favorite was number 4, Montresor. Now, it's a filly, 3-year-old filly up against the elders here. She obviously gets the weight allowance of 3 kilos. She comes in with Joe Guinguiza up on her. But I thought the value lay with the Joey Soma runner, number 2, Sardo Numspa, Neil. This would be my first choice. Got blinkers on for the first time. They've removed the earmuffs, but on some collateral form, Neil, even though the form may look a bit dodgy on paper, that's my horse in the first race, number 2, Sardo Numspa. I like it ahead of the 2-to-1 chance coming in hot and ahead of the filly Montresor, who I think might well be the dangers. And I think that might be value to open up the card.
Well, I'm not going to add anything apart from to rubber stamp it. I saw it exactly the same way, Nico. I thought the value lied with the 2 with the blinkers on. So I'm in full agreement. Let's move on to race 2, where number 1 is scratched here. And this leaves us, well, Mayan did run and didn't run very well. So I'm not surprised that that's gone back to the drawing board. But here, the favorite, number 6, Ideal Future. Well, actually, no, Ideal Future is the second favorite. The favorite is number 10, which is the first timer. And let's be honest, she doesn't have to be too good to win this.
No, so the mother, Cherry Ridge, was a full sister to Cherry on the top. Very well bred. Question mark is Vaal 1,400 up the straight, first time out for a 2-year-old, quite daunting. But she is by Silvano. Silvano's had 8 2-year-olds race this season. And they've had 16 runs in total, 2 wins only. So Silvano's not normally coming out as juveniles, Neil, or 2-year-olds, but like you say, hasn't got to beat too much over here. So obviously respect any support on track. Race time for number 10, Moraine. Warren Kennedy, the stable rider, is for Paul Peter there. The danger for me, Neil, would have to be number 8, Act of Mercy, Neil, the other 2-year-old filly. I make her a runner on her last run to Cerulean Dancer and on her previous form to behind Miss Daisy and Gallivanting. I thought that that was quite a juicy price of 11-2. I'd rather be backing her at 11-2 than the year-older Ideal Future at 18-10. So that said, I'm looking at the 2-year-olds to dominate here, 8 and 10. If there's no support for 10 or there's something iffy with the 10, 8 looks to me to be the right horse.
Okay, I just want to remind folks, I'm happy with Nico's assessment for that race. I think he's exactly right. But what I did want to remind folks is there's 9 races today. So that means that the bipod commences here in race 2 and the place accumulator in race 3. So it's not a standard 8-race program where the bipod would have started in race 1. Bipod starts here. Let's move on to race 3.
Just quickly, before you do move on, or as you're moving on, the reason why I've gone for Active Mercy, Neil, is because, as you know, I'm quite in-depth into doing my 2-year-old ratings, my own personal ratings for 2-year-olds, and I come out at a rating of a net of 57 for this horse, Active Mercy. An Ideal Future, strangely enough, Neil, hasn't got a rating after having run 3 times. I don't understand that, because I thought a 3-year-old having 3 runs would have to have a rating. It hasn't got a rating. So I think it's in the region of about 63 gross, which makes it a 61. Hence why I've gone for Active Mercy, because the 4 kilos is more than it should really be getting according to my ratings. Hence why I say 11-2 Active Mercy is better than 18-10 Ideal Future.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you're right about the pedigree of number 10, a daughter of Silvano, particularly out of that stout mare. But having said that, I'm pretty sure that Moraine will not end her career as a 60 or a 57 or whatever you've rated those other 2.
Well, that's yeah.
But you're right. It's not ideal, but she's got to start somewhere. And if she's half decent, she should win.
She has to be better than a 2-year-old with a rating of a net rating of 57. Put it that way.
Well, if you told Lawrence and Binny that that this filly's going to end off at being a 60, they'll be suicidal. But let's go on to the 3rd race, shall we? And interesting race, I felt. This is the opening leg of the place accumulator. Nico, Alabama Slammer is marginally the favourite, but it's pretty competitive in the betting. You've got 33-10 now about our good friend Brian Finch's horse that's relocated up here, who now, by the way, for those who don't know, is a chairman of Epsom Downs. So I don't think we've actually I know I congratulated him via Twitter, but not directly. Well done.
Yeah, but he watches this channel. Yeah. And I hope that he'll be watching today, because I like it. I like good. Crimson Princess. Yeah.
Well, if he's watching, I would say if he's watching, there's going to be fireworks. But after what happened at Epsom, I'm sure that he's going to intervene and there won't be fireworks again. But special variety, 4-1 Nico, and Alabama Hammer 2-1 is I said favourite. So you like Crimson Princess, eh?
Yeah, so the comment in the computer form, because it's having its first run for Ashley Fortune, the comment is first run on the high felt, settled in well. Which makes you feel that she's doing okay. Andrew and Ashley are pretty happy with the way she's doing. She's a half sister to that horse, Way of the World, Neil. It was a good horse that ran for Paul Peter and Advocate Joubert.
Yes.
And I think she's well bred. I think she'll go okay today. I'm looking at her as maybe being the right horse. I certainly prefer her to Mbewu, who's lower down the order in terms of the weights here. She has to give it 2.5 kilos, but I think she's another runner there. I thought Special Variety had a bit too much pudding, and I'd prefer Alabama Anna of that. But those were my choices. I'd probably be leaning towards Crimson Princess, Neil, in this one.
Okay, yeah, just the last thing about Crimson Princess. As we know, it is certainly no longer a man's world. It's very much a woman's world, as it should be. And I should mention Kathy, who is actually the part owner with Brian. So good to see Kathy's name in the card, and I hope that the horse runs well for them. Right, let's move on to race 4. And first leg of what I think looks like, even with the last race cutting up so badly, quite a tough pick 6. Well, here's our beloved Flying Carpet, where we got the absolute Lock on in the Summer Cup. and is just about favourite, but the support coming for a few here, including Sovereign Spirit. Nico, what's your take on this race? Small little field, but I thought quite competitive.
Yeah, because 2 and 3 are scratched, obviously, hence the reason for the changes in the market, Captain Lannister and Savannah Storm. Neil, I reckon it's a race in 2. That you always questioned the rating of Sovereign Spirit when it was up at 124, remember that?
Yes.
It's now down 8 points to 116, and significantly come down, hence it was never a 124. But the point being is that it's the same rating as Flying Carpet. Because of the conditions of the race, it carries half a kilo less. So I think it's much of a muchness, and I'm expecting Sovereign Spirit to improve, obviously, on its Highveld debut, where it ran 6 lengths down Willow Lane. That was over 15 at Turfentine on the inside track. I think it'll much prefer this track. And yeah, I make it a race in 2, Neil. Which one? Probably leaning towards Flying Carpet, but only narrowly.
Nico, I'm going to take just 30 seconds to tell you a story you'll find interesting. I know I haven't told you yet. I haven't told anybody, so I'm going to tell you now. But for me, it's quite I don't know what the right terminology is, perhaps heartwarming even in my case. But you write about this Sovereign Spirit story, and I banged on about it at great length, and subsequently had this is probably going back a year, maybe even 18 months, had a long conversation with Jay August about it. And Jay August, who, as you know, because you work with him, and he's going to be on the channel on Wednesday. So when I finish with this soliloquy, you can remind us of what's going on Wednesday. But anyway, you know, he phoned me, and he's very practical, and he calls it like it is. And he's basically said to me, Neil, stop moaning and groaning. You're coming from a punter's point of view, and you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 in a polite way. Anyway, so I didn't think anything of it, but I had a conversation with Jay probably about a month ago, and he said to me, I have you to thank. So I said, what? And he said, no, I've got you to thank about my current look at merit rating and everything that's going on. Because he said, you remember we had this conversation about Sovereign Spirit last year? And I said, yes. And he said, initially I thought, nah. And then I thought about it, and I thought, actually, Neil's got a point. The question, he's not asking, he's not phrasing it correctly or framing it correctly, but he's actually right. It's a problem. And let me delve in to deal with this. And there's a lot going on, as you've seen, coming out of it with some hybrid races in Cape Town and stuff. And he's a great mathematician and is working with the racing industry. Hopefully they will listen because there is a problem out there. There's definitely a problem out there. But anyway, when he said that, although I framed it incorrectly, it gave me great solace to know that actually I had triggered movement for the betterment and understanding of race figures and merit rating and where we are with the Asian Patent Committee. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you. But we are going to listen to the likes of Jay August, our favorite Mike Wanklin from Dubai, and Graham Hawkins on Wednesday. We're recording, right?
Yeah, we're recording Wednesday. The show will be up Wednesday night, Thursday, which is the public holiday for you to peruse through. And that's mainly talking about the Hollywood Bets Durban July, which comes up in just a couple of weeks' time. So we'll be talking about that and what the effect of the latest races have had since we had a last discussion. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of water to flow under the bridge from here on till the big day on the 2nd of July. But going back to this race, Neil, I'm definitely with Flying Carpet and Sovereign Spirit here. Both of them have claims. I'd probably slightly prefer Flying Carpet, Neil, but I wouldn't be surprised if the other one wins.
And in this, it's the first leg of the pick six, so you would go just the 2. You wouldn't put in Ocean Warrior?
If you liked it, I'd put it in, Neil, but I didn't particularly.
What worries me a bit, Nico, is it worried me even before the cut-off of the race, is the pace of the race. Where's the pace going to come from? You know, they dawdle along. I mean, it's not quite the Cape Crawl, but, you know, I just wonder for Flying Carpet.
True, because Flying Carpet needs a good gallop, doesn't he?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I can see the thing is with Kennedy, you know, and I've said it before, he's perfect for Paul Peter because he's an aggressive rider. Yes. He doesn't hang about. He gets on his bicycle and he goes and he sets a target and they're fit. So, yeah, that would be my only concern is the pace of the race. But we'll leave that for punters to discuss because we've got to move on to the 5th race. First leg of the jackpot, Nico. Looks like a wide open contest, this one. Let's go to your selections for 1, 2, 3, or should I say un, deux, trois?
No, yeah, this was tough. Under Trois, obviously, I liked last time out and ran second, well beaten by Sister Light, but she did give her 5 kilos. So I think she would come back into it. Terror Time, I'm not too sure whether she could do the trip. She is a daughter of Time Thief, so the distance worries me of 2,000 meters, as it has always done with Leluvia, a distance question mark there. Neil, I don't like this race at all because I give Ideal Jet a chance, and then she's 16 to 1 on a couple of form lines. She comes well in with a horse like Franklin, who's probably the roving banker here, Neil Franklin. They put a tongue tie
third run
on
after a rest, eh?
Yeah, they put a tongue tie on her, so she probably is the roving banker and the horse to compare notes with. But right down at the bottom, Neil, is Tinder Dry. And Tinder Dry comes in very well weighted, or 50.5 kilos. And on a couple of lines, she's got them. She's actually got them, a few of them here. So I made it open. I liked a few there, but Tinder Dry with just 50.5 kilos at 10 to 1 is quite tempting, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. She comes in the best weighted. She's actually not my choice because I've just got a gut feeling for something else, which I'll come to in a moment. The reason I've just gone for these jockey changes, Nico, is JP Van der Merwe going to ride today? Because he hasn't been riding, and I'm wondering if he was. I think he might have been carded in Durban yesterday. So does that not mean?
But I think he only had. I think he was going to ride that Joey Soma horse, but I don't think that came to pass because I think he only had the one. I don't know how many rides.
Yeah, he only had Demova. You're right. No, I think he had more than one. But anyway, I just wondered if he's going to ride. He might not still be ready, and as a result, but it doesn't have it here at this very early stage of the morning. Okay, the horse I like, I agree with you, by the way. I think it's an extremely open race. I'm going to go wider. Franklin, I think, will run a nice race. I agree with your comments. Ideal Jet, a bit of a roughie. And I certainly tend to dry on exposed form, and my handicapping comes out on top. And yet, Nico, I have a candle in the window for number 8, Princess Kesh. I don't believe Princess Kesh is the same Princess Kesh the last 2 starts. If I ignore those 2 starts, and even to a lesser extent, the Oaks, where she obviously didn't stay, you know, I like that form. Dark Travels won again, Pinups useful, Litigations, that's a colt, of course, and Lied to the Moon. I just think that Ryan Munger, if Princess Kesh can find that form, I think that's a runner at quite a big price. So, but I don't like the race. I agree with you.
No, it's not a race to get awfully involved. And even Castle Durrow, your old chestnut, has got a chance. Yeah, she comes in at 14 to 1 or 60 or 20 to 1. Yenny's an interesting booking on it. I don't like the race at all. But that said, I'll still be having a dart at a couple there, and I think Tinder Dry is a nice price. Ideal Jet's a nice price. They've got chances, Neil. So I don't like the race.
Yeah, well, I've got to find a soccershop.bet price booster, and I put myself under pressure by finding yet another 20 to 1 winner yesterday. So
yes, congratulations with that.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a sole effort because I did the show with a ghostwriter, but you came with that pretty late and you posted it up on our website.
I found it fairly late because I don't want to go into details, but I was studying on the toilet at mid-morning when I found.
Don't go into any details.
Yeah. But I've injured myself because I stood up on a chair and whipped it home, and I've done rather bad whip damage, as Dennis and people will attest to yesterday. So anyway, as Irish said, he said, you've been stood down after that ride, because excessive use of the whip, I suspect. Anyway, so we were very happy with that priceless ruler. Let's move on to the next race, Nico. Now, interesting here, money coming for Canada Square, who I think we both liked as a racehorse in Cape Town. It's moved from Eric Sands to Sean Tarry. What did you make of this race?
Yeah, it won its first start where it was odds on favour. In fact, we all liked it. Hence, it was backed in from 5 to 2 to even money. It was the wrong price when it opened up. It looks like they posted up the wrong price again now, the bookies, because he is out of the mare Isle of Dogs, who won over 2,000 metres. There's the half-brother to that horse, Siberian Husky, who's by What a Winter. So I think he'll stay the 2,000 metres, and he comes in off a rating of 77 here. So I think he's, again, a horse that has a chance here. But right down at the bottom, Neil, at 20 to 1 is a horse called Romeo's Magic. who's carrying 54.5 kilos. I give him a chance. He comes through very good on the ratings too, and he's a big price. I wouldn't outrule the chances of Canada Square, but there's another that I put a couple of ticks against. 5th of July always seems to run a decent race, and Secret is Ours at 7-2 will also run a good race. Jamala, I'm not sure, Neil. You'd know more about Jamala being a Cape Town horse. Had one run here, good run actually, behind Barney's Pride. Probably looking for the trip, but has to shoulder 60. So I was a bit against that because I thought it had to give weight all round. And then My Masters changed stables, moved to the Boertis Vosloo yard. Dawn of a New Era, the final one, is the distance question mark for me, 2,000 meters, but always seems to be running on. Again, it's open, but I thought there were a couple here with big prices. I wouldn't rule out Canada Square, but I wouldn't be backing it at those short odds.
Yeah, I think it's a very open race, Nico. I'm surprised. Well, I'll put it this way. I think Canada Square, when it opened up, might have been a bit big at 8-1, but I certainly won't be rushing off taking 5-1 because, to be fair, it beat Dawn Mission, who I think goes up. It goes up vertically a lot. It doesn't run horizontally. It goes up and down quite a bit. And again,
I will never back that horse again. I don't care what they do. I mean, sorry, Ralph's, Lindsay.
No, Catherine, I think they know it's pretty average. I spoke to Alistair. They were hoping for
backing that again, ever.
So the fact is, Canada Square, beat it by 3 parts of a length. I mean, it didn't exactly frank the form. So no, not for me. Not at that price anyway. So I think you've covered it again. Trappy little race. Your good friend, Dave Scott, has got a runner here, Humble Tune.
Humble Tune.
Yeah.
I thought others fancied, Neil, on the weights. I'm going to find it difficult for Humble Tune to reverse form on a few of them, Neil.
Yeah.
That's why I think the 20-1, actually, Romeo's Magic at the bottom, Neil. Each way might be tempting today, I quite like that.
Yeah. And I might be going, I'm like you, I'm looking for a big prize. I'm like maybe number 3, My Master. I know it's got a lot of pudding, 59.5, but it's got Smunga and it's got a tongue tie. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
trappy little race.
Anything, yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Another trappy one.
Yeah, another trappy one. Well, hopefully we can find somewhere to go shortly, although you did go a bit short earlier on in Flying Carpets race. Right, here we go with the next race, Nico. There's a big field here. Take us through. Love Bite is the 4-1 favorite, but I hate to tell punters, it doesn't get much easier, does it?
Well, Queen of Gaul's actually shorter, Neil.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, sorry, I missed that.
The 20-10. Now, I want you to just allow me to share, if you wouldn't mind, Neil. I want to just show you something which is food for thought. And I'm going to go to our good friends when I do come back on with this page. Right. To our good friends at Form Grids, Neil. And I'll bring it up in a second. Hopefully that site is up and running and we can show you. But you look at the exposed form Queen of Gaul and you say, right, it beat Mystic Cliffs 8.25 lengths, all fair and well, and whatever it is, but it's carrying 61. And it comes in off a rating of 91. Now that's a gross rating of 91. You've got to take 17 points off that to come to its net rating. Which is a 74, basically. Is that right? 17 points? Yeah, 74. So it's basically racing off a 74 rating. But you have allowed me to share, have you? Let's go here. I want to show you here quickly what's going on. Let's just share here. All right. So I want to show you something here, why I wouldn't take anything close to 22-10 about this horse. Here we go. So we go to Queen of Gaul. Last run. It beats a horse called Miss Soho
by 1.25,
but giving it 3. So it basically beats Miss Soho by 4.25. Miss Soho ran against Stormy Lass, right?
Yeah.
Stormy Lass beat it 8 lengths plus 3 is 11.
Okay, right. Oh, wow. Sure. Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just
So that
saying
obviously brings Love Bite in, but it brings Aurora Light and a whole bunch of others.
It brings all those horses in, Neil, and it brings them in at better terms than you would ordinarily think. So to take 22 to 10, it may well win, Neil, and good luck to Queen of Gold because she's on the up and she's improving. But 22 to 10, and I said this about that horse Naval Guard, and I wasn't being derogatory in any sense. I just said even money was completely the wrong price about Naval Guard. It went out to 2 to 1. 2 to 1 was still the wrong price about Naval Guard. If you were backing Naval Guard at 2 to 1 or 18 to 10, you need your head ready because it was never that price.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. This horse is going to drift. I can't see it being back to 22 to 10.
So you got to go fairly wide here. I didn't.
What did you like?
Well, I was looking for roughies in this race. I found two. One of them is Caruso. I'll just throw Caruso at punters.
Okay.
It's an oratorio. I think that she's a 4-year-old carrying 52.5. She's fairly well in here in a very, very open race.
Neil, this race is terribly open. So I've shown you how the Love Bite comes in. So all those horses with a Love Bite form line. I mean, there is collateral form using Stormy Lass as the lion horse, which brings Love Bite bang back into it, Neil. And she's in good form. I think she'll run another good race. And good old Henny Grayling, for me, he's value for money, Neil.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He tries his damnedest, and he's a lovely guy. He just does his best. Imposing Angel also comes into it. I think Samoa's beaten on weight terms, but there's one other, Neil, who I've talked about twice or 3 times before.
Feather the Nest?
Runner here. No.
Who have you gone for before?
I said I wouldn't go for her again, actually, in a hurry, but I'm going for her again.
Well, there's a few. Yeah.
Number 12.
Grisha, yes. I backed her last time. Was a bit disappointed, but it was against Taken Naughty, won on its coconut by a mile, right?
She is slow into stride, Neil. But if she, they put a different rider on, they put Seister on. I'm thinking maybe it might improve, Neil. But I think the Rover would probably be Love Bite to Rowan again. It brings in all those form lines between all the others. Probably Love Bite as well will run a good race, Neil. But I don't think that horse is a 22 to 10 chance.
Interesting. I'm not going to go for it today. I went for it last time. And the reason I'm not going for it today, I was a little bit disappointed. But having what you've shown me, I went for number 10 Jam Fancy last time. But I was a bit disappointed with her, really. So I'm not going for her today, but I see she's been tickled up a bit. So somebody's seen perhaps what I saw last time. But anyway, listen, it's one of those open races. And folks, if you're watching, I think Nico and I would both agree that whatever you fancy, we wouldn't put you off backing. It's that kind of race.
Yeah, it is that kind of race.
Yeah. Let's go to race 8. Nico, just an update on those scratchings in this race. The 2 is scratched. This is race 8. And which is quite an important scratching, I believe. And also Blue Eyes, who also is probably an important scratching because he's been running quite well. What's your take on this race?
So Neil here, I liked a few here. The horse I originally liked when I was going through, because I go in a numerical order. So I go to number 1. Okay. And again, I don't know much about number 1. So you might have to fill us in on what you think about 1, because it's got blinkers and tongue type, newcomer Admiralty Arch. It used to be a horse owned by Mr. and Mrs. Bill McGregor, called Admiralty Arch. It was trained by Michael Airy. It ran with a green and the light blue cap.
I remember that, yes. Yes.
You remember it? Yeah. So that was years and years ago. We're recalling the past. But that said, so I go to number 1, and then I go to number 3 in this case, and then I'll see if 3 can beat 1, and then 3 becomes the horse, and then 4 becomes the horse if it can beat 3, and so forth.
Yes.
So my first horse down the order was 9, In Cahoots. I looked at this and said, well, that I think is the right horse here. But I went further down the page, and I got to Call Me Master, Neil. Now, Call Me Master, you'd say, what the hell is it doing in a 1,200-meter race? Well, it dawdled in the 1,400, and I think it'll like the 1,200. So I think that's a runner, and I'm surprised to see it at a big price as it is. But further down, you get 12 Into the Future, 20 to 1, and even better is my young little man, Yonder Sasibo, on a horse called Tiger in the Sun, at 25 to 1 with just 54 kilos. That's a runner. And I think for me, one of those that I've mentioned will win.
So, well, the value then is clearly in Tiger in the Sun at 25 to 1 for you in this race. But I would agree with you with Call Me Master. I thought he won very cozily last time.
He did.
And Muzzy is riding so well. So I wouldn't put that to pass. It's another very complicated race. And the horse I liked a bit, but I have to say there's no real value. I have to go back up here. Although it is 7 to 1, but I'm not so sure in this nature of the race that it offers value at 7 to 1. Is this horse Esquivel, Nico? I think that he's very likely raced. And I liked his debut for Carl Miedema, and then they tried him over 1400 behind Litigation. It was too far at the time for him, and he was dropped in the deep end. But then he was close up behind Gutter, who he raked. And last time I think he probably needed the run. I think he's actually an okay horse, and the fact that Gavin has stayed with him, I think that he'll run okay. But it's a terrible race again. So I'm happy to embrace some of your roughies, and you've given us a few to go on with there.
Yeah, I like both those. Well, look, for me, 11, 12, and 13, Neil. I'm and I think Call Me Master will run a cracker. Robbie Sage had that horse on the weekend, Neil. All credit. Yes. You know what? We've got to get a horse for Robbie Sage. How's that?
He's a good guy.
He's such a lovely chap. And every time he interacts with us, we always telling him that we're backing his horses and winning. So we owe him a horse, I think. But I think he'll run a cracker, Call Me Master, again today. I really like him. But I think for me, I'm going for 11, 12, and 13. I'm going for some nice roughies there. Hey?
Okay, 11, 12, and 13 for Nico in a very open race. Let's move on to the 9th race. Now, this is, we've got to wrap up because I've got to get the kids to school. I suspect you've got to get your kids to school as well. Yeah,
correct.
So now this race I'm going to show you, but guys, it's been cut up very, very badly. So I've given you those scratchings already, so I'm not going to repeat them. We know what they are, but it sets up for Wackas. But, he's coming from a stable where I would say they're hot, and they are hot because they got very hot temperatures. Okay. That's a worry. I mean, they've scratched 6 of them with hot temperatures. Ignore obviously all the betting moves with Bloomington and all these things are out. I mean, there's hardly any left in the race. What did you think?
Well, it's strangely enough, Neil. It loves the course and it loves running up the straight of the Vaal, basically. Banner Bridge, Neil, is bang on the money with it. Hence why I think Banner Bridge for me is a better price than Wackas. I think they come in level pegging. Wackas has to give Banner Bridge 3 kilograms. I think Banner Bridge run last time out. I like that run last time out. I told Alistair the same. I liked it running on. I think Banner Bridge a better betting proposition than Wackas. But there's a horse here, Neil, that's got a massive chance. And that's the maiden winner, Orgeterix. Okay. On a couple of collateral lines, Neil, I think this will run a cracker today, Orgeterix. With 53 kilos, Banner Bridge has to give him 5, I think it is, from 58 to 53. So I like that too. So I made it Banner Bridge and Orgeterix to fight it out ahead of Wackas. That was my take on it. Remember that there's only 8 runners now with 8 scratchings.
Yeah, there's so many scratchings here, so we're not going to repeat them. It's interesting because Orgeterix, I made a note here, the brief won very well, didn't he, on Sunday?
Yes, it did.
It won, which is Frank that form. Yeah, so I think you're spot on there. Nico, I'm going to get out of the stopping sharing because that race, it's just, it's the proverbial mind if because you just look down, there's more scratchings than
we'll agree on a price booster, Neil, at some stage, and we'll post it up later on our various platforms, but not on this one.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Nico, thanks very much. And have a great day. You're not calling today, I take it.
No, I'm not calling. I'm calling on Friday in the Eastern Cape. So I'll be down there on Friday, my next commentating shift. Yeah.
Good man.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay. Nico, if I just quickly before we go, if I had to give you 100 Rand and say to you 100 Rand each way, which horse would you put it on?
Sure, 100 Rand each way, Neil. Which horse would I put it on?
Probably in your 8th race. Would you look for value there?
100 Rand each way, Neil. I'd go in the Sixth race, Romeo's Magic.
Sixth race, Romeo's Magic for Nico. There you go. Right, Nico, thanks very much. Have a great day. And to all our Clock in the Gallop fans, thanks for watching. On we stride. Have a great day's race.